we start our time of reflection today looking towards Easter, we're going to take a few minutes to think about the idea of what it means for the eternal God to become a human. We know that Jesus became a human. He became a man. John 1:14 tells us that the Word became human and made his home among us. And I've always liked the way the Message translation shares this verse. It says, "The Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood." So if you think of that idea, someone moving into your neighborhood and all that that entails, that's what Jesus did. He joined us. He wrapped himself in flesh. He became a human. Think about some of the most everyday, basic moments of your life. The human experience, if you will. Waking up in the morning, opening your eyes to a new day, maybe feeling well rested, maybe not. Sinking your head down into the pillow at the end of the day and resting your weary head, taking a rest. Eating a meal, taking out the trash, parenting, friendship, laughter, arguments, love, loss, friendship. All of these things are part of what makes up the story of a human life, human experience. And Jesus lived all of those. He felt them. He understands them. I'm guessing most of you, like me, had no idea that we would be living through a human experience on a global historical scale this last year and a half or so. Maybe it wasn't a year and a half, seems like it. But the COVID pandemic has crammed even more experience into our daily lives than we ever would have thought possible. Our family has had our ups and downs. The time together has been a blessing and a challenge. We've navigated illness, the loss of a loved one, uncertainty, and some joys. On top of the big scale of COVID, one of the things that we've experienced is launching our firstborn. We had a 2020 senior who graduated. And so for me, part of my human experience has been saying some goodbyes to my baby boy son that are a little different than, hey, I'll pick you up after soccer practice is over. They're longer goodbyes. And I've had a lot of mixed feelings about that. Good, bad, excited, hard. And I was going to tell you a story about a moment where that everyday reality of my life, the ups and downs of my human experience, just intersected with Jesus and his presence in humanity in a way that was really meaningful to me. So I had dropped off my son for one of those very long goodbyes, and I just had a lot of feelings about it. We had driven an hour and a half away, and I had hugged him and driven away on my own. And in the seat next to me in my now empty vehicle, where my son had been sitting, there was a big empty space. And I had about an hour and a half of a drive ahead of me on my way home, and I thought, okay, I could fill this with a podcast, I could call a friend, but something just whispered to me, no, just let there be silence. And as that silence sat and filled the car, and I watched the road ahead of me and was just alone with my heart and my thoughts, I came to realize that Jesus, it was like he was sitting in the car with me. Not there, I couldn't see him, that would have been really awesome, but it wasn't like he showed up. But it was just that he was there. And it was like I didn't have to explain anything. I didn't have to analyze my feelings or process my emotions or talk myself through. I just could be. And he was right there in that seat. And it didn't feel so empty anymore because I had a friend who understood. God, who put on flesh and bone and moved into my neighborhood, my reality. Because you see, to me, none of this, Easter, faith, none of this means anything to me if it doesn't intersect and meet me right in the middle of my life, right where I'm at. the ups, the downs, the mess, the joy. And that was like what that moment in the car was to me. It was Jesus being human, being with me in my humanity. So let's think about Jesus as a normal human being, navigating his way through life, because that's what he did. And yet at the same time, he displayed the image of God to the people who were around him, right in the midst of those daily experiences. To me, that's like the most simple, basic definition of what it means to be a Christ follower. We live our daily lives, we do our thing, we be who we are, where we're at, and we do our best, I do my best, to show those around me God, right in the midst of it. Obviously, I don't do it as well as Jesus did, because I'm not fully God. He's the only one who ever did it perfectly, but he's our example. And we don't do it without his help, because again, he's right there with us. So whatever your everyday looks like, as we sit here in this moment and we think about Jesus being human, living a human life, putting on humanity in all of its good and bad and ugly, wrapping himself in human flesh. Think about the God of the world stepping into that ordinary body, and what that means for us right now. It means that he's with you. It means that he understands. It means that Easter makes a difference every single day, every moment. Whether you're taking out the trash or doing something that seems more important and profound. The highs, the lows, the blah, Jesus is there. And as we take time right now to think about that, think about what it means for the mystery, the majesty, the humility and the humanity of Jesus Christ, fully God and fully man, to be present with you, to move into your neighborhood. As you think about that and meditate on that, I challenge you to look for ways that you can actively invite him to be beside you in the passenger seat, to be a part of the everyday moments of your life. Because remember, he's already there. The Word became flesh and moved into your neighborhood.